Hey everybody, so this week we're finally starting the final project. And the final project is a group project, unless otherwise stated by me, where you'll be creating throughout the rest of the semester an entire web application. Now yeah, we're starting a little earlier than previous terms, so you can take it a little slower and a little more modular. So don't panic because you haven't even written any HTML or CSS. We'll get to that. So the final project, you should have formed your groups by now, tentatively speaking. And now you're going to go through the small deliverable goals at several points during the semester. Your first goal will be to make a proposal, and will also be to submit a project pitch. Now, for the rest of the semester, since you'll be working on this for a long term, you want to make sure that you keep in contact with me as issues come up, because it's a lot easier for me to help your group through a technical or a non-technical issue midway through the final project rather than at the last hour. Some groups in the past have let problems fester until the very last week, and then they don't deliver the final project, and then they get a D in the course. So you definitely don't want to take that approach to your final project. You want to stay on top of it a little bit at a time and just go through it. So the final project is this multi-week team effort to create a complete, robust web application. Now you're going to be using components from every portion of the course. You'll create valid HTML and CSS pages. You'll use Express and Node. You're going to persist data in a MongoDB database. You'll use an AJAX call. You'll have to defend yourself against basic security attacks. You'll have to be accessibility friendly. You'll have to have a user authentication system as well, and some other small things that will be listed out. So, since you're building more than just a few web pages, you're building a web application, let's take some time to explain what a web application is. Web applications are anything that do something. So for your final project, you have to have all of the following. A user login system is mandatory for the final project. Forms being submitted via AJAX with error checking. Now, you may not know what that means yet, but in a nutshell, it means that you're going to use front-end JavaScript to make a network request for you to send form data. You'll need your code organized in modules like we do in class. Any configuration must be done in a single file, and you will need to put and make a print CSS layout. We will be going over all of this time and time again for the rest of the course, so don't worry. Now, just some good ideas that will be accepted, and this isn't something that's this slide isn't to show you, okay, these are ideas, use these. This is to show you kind of the complexity level that you'll be working on. If you wanted to make a recipe website that allows for searching for recipes based on ingredients, it would be more towards the acceptance rate. A file parser that takes text files and runs statistics on them, well, we might have already started that for lab, but something more complex than that would definitely be an acceptable level of project. Or my favorite type of website for this project, a website that uses other APIs and aggregates standardized data, does something on them. You can do a ton. There's a ton of free APIs with a ton of data to access. So you can do things like parse through Twitter and find trends with words or something like that, and so on. But there's a lot of types of ideas that won't be accepted. I will not accept a blog. We can now make a blog in the course of 2 to 3 hours, and you'll be able to do that by the end of the course. So, no blogs. But yet some people want really complex projects, like an OCR platform that will index text from an image. No, we're not going to do that. It's been pitched before that some groups have wanted to make a to-do list. That's entirely too simple. Now some groups will go even further and they say we want to make a real-time news application that runs off of websites to deliver real-time updates about your stock data and about this, and parse the portfolio and tell you when to sell and when to buy and so on and so forth, and it's just entirely too complex for a final project for this course. So what I'm trying to get at here is that there's projects that I'll accept, there's projects that I'll tell you have to review, but it'll be so that I can make sure that you don't take on too little or too much work. Now the first thing your group is going to submit is a proposal, which is just a brief description of your project and the features that it will include. Now you're going to have 2 feature sections. Core features, things that you must implement. You must include them or you will receive a point deduction at the very end on your final project grade itself. And extra features that if you implement, all your core features, and they will potentially help you mitigate points being taken off from other issues. So each proposal will be either approved, rejected, or conditionally approved for your project. Now, rejected just means you need a new idea. We need to figure it out, and I would help you as needed. Approved means you're not in over your head, it looks pretty fair. Conditionally approved means it's on the right track, but we need to be refined, and I will give you feedback. Maybe I'll tell you what the conditions are, and you would have to just accept them or come up with some things on your own, and we go back and forth a little. Now, I can't stress this enough, however, these 2 points. I may supply additional comments telling you that you need additional features, or that I just arbitrarily am striking some down that are not conditional. I might say, flat out right, no, you can just do this. If you were saying pitching the recipe website idea, I might come back to you and say, you have to implement also a pricing component where we show how much this recipe will cost you. So the difference between that and conditionally improving is more like we need to flesh out the idea in general. These additional comments are for when there's features that I want you to add. And I might say something like, no, don't implement this with WebSockets, implement it with just some HTTP calls because it'll be too complex otherwise. Now this point as well is very important. All core features must be delivered. You will receive points off if they are not delivered. You can't promise me a product and then not give it to me. So that's the nutshell of that's the very brief, that's the final project in a nutshell. It sounds a little intimidating at first, but that's why you're going to have about 10 weeks to work on it. So that being said, work on your proposals and let me know if you have any questions.